Maybe you can't hear it, but I do. That's how I
Mm.
laugh.
Uh, what you say?
I
What you
mean,
say
I
that,
really
Chuck?
should because, or do you want to hear my bellow? Because I laugh really loud. Well, let me see if I got a story to tell. By the way, welcome y'all. Little different than the usual, no intro or nothing like that. But I'm chilling where you see clearly, and just having a discussion about whatever, like I usually do. Um, but I had to get out of where I was for a little bit, uh, see some other things, and there's a really dope ass friend of mine who shares a lot of same passions that I do, when it comes to history, uh, culture, um, stories, knowledge, um,
Social justice.
social justice, just being the gem of one's life in general, and honoring and respecting that, and so much more, to be quite honest. Um, but there's so many things I've like wanted to talk about. It's like one of those things where I'm just drawing blank at this moment. But I asked everybody on social media earlier today, so I'll start with that. Tea, coffee, or both?
Yes, me.
Yeah.
Oh, like it depends on the frequency.
Hmm.
Like I drink tea pretty much every night, but coffee only when I need it. 'Cause I'm very sensitive to caffeine. I could take a medium
Hmm.
iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, as flavorful and sweet as it could be. It would take me about 4 days, just because like my body's so sensitive to caffeine. Like 2 swigs from a straw, woo!
Really?
I ain't going to bed at 2 a.m.
Coffee puts me to sleep.
Mm-mm.
I drink it like hot chocolate, like little kids do after a snow day. And I
No.
just be sipping all hot and just ooh, and then I'll smoke my little
Mm-mm.
blunt and sip my coffee. Oh my goodness, it's like a hot summer day.
Wow.
And so yeah, and so I'm hooked on it. But I love my tea, and I'm one of those people. I get bougie with it. I have the little thing with the holes, and you just like put the free tea in it.
The
And
few.
I don't know what the hell them things is called, so I guess I ain't that bougie. But I like all different kinds of teas and
I got one
coffees.
in there.
My point is that when I asked people earlier, most people said both.
Yeah, they're cousins.
That's true.
They're
That
both
is true.
caffeinated,
But
coming from a plant.
people like to make it seem like it's team coffee versus team tea, and I don't think that's true.
It's a European country.
So if
Black
that's
folks
the
love
case,
coffee, and the Europeans tea. They stole from Asia in the first place.
oh, now we talking.
So it's all appropriated by them.
But I was thinking in terms of Democrat, Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a lot of people that say, "Oh, vote doesn't matter," so they just don't vote. They say that because they're neither Democrat or Republican. There is no explanation for what they are currently, or they think that there's no explanation for what they are. They don't even think about it at all to even know that deep into what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of the problem, is keeping people in the dark so that they think they can only affiliate with one or the other, which is part of the problem. But we have all these different varieties of bread and mayonnaise and frozen fucking fruit. But you can't mean to tell me that it's not okay to have more than two parties or three, technically, or if you want to call it libertarian or independent, four, whatever, five, because we have green, but they don't. None of them really count. So I just think it's confusing.
We'll take that.
Yes, I mean I'll take that because for me personally, that's where I'm at, and it's not thinking about politics in general, but just how we're made to be staunchly on one side and someone else on the other
Polarized.
side. Yes, and the other, conquer and divide. Um, And circling back around to what I wanted to get at, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with this, and maybe you can elaborate more. But I did an episode with a friend of mine from back in Scranton. Really dope dude. His shout out to Kenneth Watkins of Moral Code. We did an episode that he wanted to talk about this, the Willie Lynch letter. What was that face for?
I mean, there's polar opposites on the views on the Willie Lynch letters.
Mhm.
Real or not?
Do you think it's real?
Um, yes and no. Uh, Real in the sense that the principles it talks about is definitely real. Um, Whether these were actual formal letters to somebody, that's debatable. Um, I really have never looked at them. I've always looked at it from the principle lens, like,
Right.
oh my God, like this is making sense. Like, it's a fucking psychological thing. You know, if you get the psyche, you got them. Um, and the examples and stuff you was the shit that was really happening. So it was like it wasn't until like after I read them, then I heard the controversy about whether these are real or not, and it was just like, who cares? The essence of it is like
True.
stuff that's still happening to us today.
Right.
So like, let's forget this is it at play right here that we arguing over this shit in
Right.
the first place.
Exactly.
Like, oh, they
Exactly.
already winning.
For
Like,
real.
oh
For real.
God. Oh, that's all I gotta say about that. Like,
You know what's crazy? I never knew about that until this guy brought it up to me.
mm,
So for me, I was just stuck on that. If I don't know about this, did you know about Willie Lynch? Did you know about? And I'm starting to ask people around, and like, what? Like a couple people knew, but they didn't tell me. And I'm like, well, how come you didn't? I thought you knew. Why didn't you ever ask? That's a whole thing in itself. But no, you're right. It's kind of like with the border patrol agents at the border with the things that they hold the horses with to giddy up, right?
the
That's what they
bridle.
were using to whip the quote unquote whip the Haitian refugees with.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't care if they were whips or not whips. It was the image that they portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not apples and oranges. They're still
And they
fucking
weren't smiling
apples.
for the camera.
Right. So the government and whoever else can justify whatever they want, but I don't know. So yeah. Well, for one, we are here in Pennsylvania. I am a PA, born and raised boy, and love this state, Commonwealth. Although it has its shortcomings, I still will forever be fascinated with everything about this place. Philadelphia, in particular, for its standings in American history, but American Black history. And there's this particular, I don't think it's the History Channel, it might be PBS or the History Channel, one of them Jones, and it was like maybe 12-part series movie thing. Each episode was like 2 hours or an hour and a half at the least. And it started from when the indigenous were just here alone and when the British came or whoever came first. Who came first? Do you
Say
know?
it again.
To Philly.
You said who was first?
Who arrived here when it was just indigenous people here on the Delaware River? Was
Mm,
it was it the Dutch that came first?
I'm I'm trying to think because it's
Yeah, because I don't think it was the British that came first
no, no, no,
to
no, no,
Philly.
no. The Dutch were here first, definitely before the Brits. I mean, 'cause the Dutch had already been over here before the colonists.
Mm,
Um, the history don't talk about that. There were people already settling the land.
well,
So it wasn't like, oh, new land,
right.
America.
Let's go back real quick because a lot of people don't like talk about how African explorers traveled here
A
and
long time ago.
everywhere else around the planet long before Europeans
And
ever even
beyond.
thought about it. Right. Right. And so a lot of times I like to focus on that because there's so many different accounts of Africans even getting as far up to the Susquehanna Valley, like the Susquehanna River that separates, goes right through Pennsylvania. Um, a lot of people like to chuck all that kind of stuff up to conspiracy theories or say it's like fringe stuff, but I am nonetheless still very fascinated with what little information I've been able to come across. Because it reminds me that the people who claim to be the victors wrote what we know of or think of as history, but there's so many different other things that we don't entirely know. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
There's an African proverb. It's pretty much describes American history. It says, until the lion learns how to tell its story, the story will always be the victor
And the victor of the hunter.
or in
Wow.
favor of the hunter.
Right, right.
So we gotta find those stories. It's just the narrative.
See, I don't see our stories being found, so to speak. We'll get pieces, but I think the story comes with us forming something from scratch now and going forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like defining what we are now as people, not specific races. Like, of course, we have our races, we have our cultures within our pockets of people. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we should always have that. But as like people in this specific area, because I don't like borders, but that happen to live in this specific area of what we call America, as brown people and black people, like I use the term black, but other people have their own things. I think there needs to be a time where we really become as a people consciously aware of where we're going culturally. Um, in the society that we're in, it's easier said than done because you have so many different opposing forces pulling and pushing us wherever. But optimistically speaking, I feel like we're more woke than we ever have been as a people. And it's not even just black people, brown people too. Um, some people think that a movement is gone, but I think that it's still here. I think that it's just now manifesting in different ways. Yeah, people are looking inward. Um, and I think that's the key to finding like a lot of our uh, lost history that we may never get back because a lot of it's oral. Um, how else are we gonna like find it? We have to look inward, right? Like that's the I've tried to I've given up on like saying that I'm gonna be able to find the full picture of things. Like I always had this perfect thing in my head that I was gonna be able to know every ancestor and bloodline and this, that, and the third. And I mean, it's not possible. And I don't know if I would want it to be personally.
Mm-hmm. All the jams. We still
So
live?
yeah.
All right.
So 15 minutes in. So Philly, um, for me is a unique place for not only its black population, but the history of the black population here, I feel is unique from anywhere else in America. Um, Maybe also just because I have a lot of ancestral ties here. I don't know, but I love this place. Like,
Can't can't shake it.
and you do history? What's it like?
Teaching history,
Yeah,
storytelling, live storytelling. The story of the lion.
but I mean, in Philly, what's it like? Like, do kids understand the significance of like where they live and the part that the history like plays here?
Uh, yes, I tell my students all the time, like, y'all don't know how blessed y'all are being in the city. A lot of the stuff I studied in college and before, just throughout, I'm like, anybody great that was black in America came through Philadelphia. Period.
Mhm.
Like it was the rites of passage.
Yeah,
like like I pulled that book out. You ever heard of that book, I Dream a World?
no,
It's a it's a coffee table book, photo book. This guy photographs like all these black women. It's like the faces of 50 black women who shaped America. And like this was back in the 80s. Like got like Maxine Waters, like yeah, that book is gold. Every black girl in the world should
yes,
have the book I Dream a World. And my white social studies teacher introduced it to me. She introduced
yeah.
me. A white woman introduced me to Josephine Baker, like
What?
who I adore. But yeah, history, like it's just telling the line. My job in my stake in history, telling the lion story. I've just been winning in every story.
See, I think my point is to highlight people
Mm-hmm.
doing that.
Oh,
Every story needs a voice, but every voice needs a mic. Every mic needs an amphitheater
yeah.
or any kind of platform, really. But Philly is definitely a crossroads for sure, and a rite of passage for sure. And despite landscape changing like any other major city, I feel like there's like a soul that will never be taken out of it.
This
You know,
place was built on resistance.
right?
They can't help it.
For real. And this place has always had a rough history, like always.
It was a microcosm of the world.
Agreed. I think that's why it's like my favorite city in the whole world thus far.
It's like a slice of every single thing.
Hmm.
Indigenous.
For real.
Like that's Philly. Yep, that's Philly too. We talking about yep, we can because we've been doing it for so long.
And people that don't know about Philly, they've never been here. They're from all over. Like, say someone from California, they've never even been to the East Coast.
Mm.
To explain to them what Philly is like, they don't get it. And it's just, I feel really blessed to have been able to grow up and come into Philly constantly, like all the time, literally all the fucking time. So not only do I feel really blessed and special, but lucky, but I know this and I don't take it for advantage. Like, I grew up at a young age, going to museums all around the area, and my uncles and aunts and cousins driving me places and telling me what this was and what that was all around the city. So
Mm-hmm.
like, I formed a great appreciation for the city at an early age. I love me some Mariah.
Right.
So I just found out Rihanna's pregnant. I did an episode on it the other day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
She's pregnant. And somebody showed me like this tight black dress that she has on, and somebody said like it was a phony or something, but that dress she pregnant. So congratulations. I was holding out for another album, but it is what it is. You about to crash.
It's good. Whatever that makes you good.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't think I like. I grew up being mostly familiar
You
with.
don't go to the kitchen and get the other back.
Yep. One second.
Sitting on the table. I don't know what's it for you.
Ah.
I don't know why I thought you were still digging in the crumbs. I was just like, man, open them chips.
Oh.
What's that? Is that candy corn?
It sure is.
Please.
What? Okay, you definitely my nigga. Because
Like, I only like it like this time of the year.
what?
I can't eat it.
I eat it year round.
Do they make it year round?
Yeah. I can
Are
get
you
it.
sure?
Yeah, I can get it
Not
really
just
cheap at like.
stale?
Yeah, like I like stuff still. Well, that kind of stuff still. At like
You say Big Lots.
yeah, Big
That
Lots.
sounds like some overstock candy for 2 cents.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I can get it from there really cheap. It is year round. You can
I like
get
the pumpkin.
yeah, I like the pumpkins too. You like the Lucky Charms marshmallows? You get a bag full of them, just marshmallows at Big Lots. Mm-hmm. And then I like circus peanuts. People don't like circus peanuts.
I like
I'll
circus
open them
peanuts.
joints, let them get hard, and then I'll eat them.
I like a good circus peanut.
See, I like the things that people don't like except black licorice. I don't know why I don't like black licorice. Right. But like all that stuff, I'm like, give it to me, give it to me. And people be like clowning me, like, you like that stuff? I do. I don't know why. It's just a thing I like. I'm different, y'all.
The chocolate one was good. The chocolate when they had a chocolate tip.
I'm weird on the chocolate. I have to I'll get the autumn mix with all three. The pumpkins, the chocolate, and these ones. I'll eat these. Then I'll eat the pumpkins. And then I'll eat the chocolate because they the last ones, and I still want some candy corn, but it's a different texture and a different taste. But I still fuck with it. I'm weird. Very weird.
That's all good.
Yeah, I know. So, where have you been in America? And well, for one, we never got to talk about my experience in Minneapolis, did we? Do you remember I went out there?
I think I remember one
So,
month.
so Dante Wright was executed, like I think
Yeah,
right
because you
after
was out there
420,
for a minute, weren't you?
like almost a week, like a week,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
a little over a week. Four. I know 420, So it was around 420 he got executed. I was out there like almost the following week after.
Okay.
So the end of April. Um, by the time I came back, it was May. But I drove through Ohio, went to Columbus because Micaiah Bryant had just got killed there. So I went there, and I have an activist friend that lives out there. So I interviewed her. She gave me like a little bit of background history on the the historically black neighborhood, what's left of it after redlining, highways, blah 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 blah. Same old story. Uh, but getting a little backstory to that, I wasn't ready to go to that site. I was like, let me just focus on that, build a story around that. I'm glad I did because when I got to Chicago, I'm gonna pour something to drink real quick.
Okay.
Uh, so when I got to Chicago, I tried to do a lot of decompressing. Like I had my driver take me straight to the beach, so I could just like woosah really quick. You know what I mean? I needed to do that, and I don't have it. So one second.
You trying to take me?
No.
Is my phone on the table? Is my phone on the table?
Uh,
Like the kitchen table? I don't know where that phone
no.
I don't know where it's at.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's so weird with no music. Background music. Chicago. I had to decompress a little bit because I knew it was gonna be a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Not just dangerous streets and territory that I'm not familiar with. It's not like I'm driving through Philly. I don't care where in Philly I go that I've never been. I'm still gonna feel comfortable because I'm in Philly. Does that make sense? But going to Chicago, I ain't never been there before. I don't know where I'm at. I don't have any point of origin for comfortability. So I just prepared myself. And as soon as you get into, can't even remember the neighborhood name, you could feel an energy difference. Like it was like we crossed under this bridge.
It
Like
was a nice
below.
neighborhood.
No,
Uh,
it's kind of like the Badlands in North Philly. Just nothing but Hispanic people. And just desolate and just like eerie feeling. But you see, Hispanics in store businesses and like graffiti and stuff like art everywhere. But other than that, like it was a scary feeling. Um, and the site was really, it was hard to be there. It was really hard to be there. But by the time I got to Minneapolis, I don't know, something about Chicago had changed things for me. Like that was a really dark fucking feeling. Like it felt like I was constantly being watched. Um, it just wasn't a good feeling. And then cops everywhere just driving past, like the same cop repeatedly kept driving past and staring at us. It was just, but not even that. Like it was that alleyway where it happened, so you really don't know who was watching you. You know what I mean? Um, I took a few pictures and got the fuck out of there. For real, for real. But Minneapolis is where I stayed the bulk of the time, and there was a call of action for women or parents and families of killed.
victims.
You saw that?
There's some program in here filming similar.
It was really powerful. I mean, I didn't know that about Minneapolis, so I didn't think there was that many people killed by the police up there. But it was, whew, that was a lot. But you know what? I didn't even think about local ones. I'll have to get um some people in touch with some other people from Lancaster because I think that support system is crucial for anyone who's going through that to have. Um, from what I've seen, a lot of families end up feeling alone or feeling like people forgot them or don't care. So I think I have one more day of being banned, and then I'll be back on Facebook, y'all.
Out of Facebook jail, out on bail.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's just weird. Like I have to repost it to Facebook in a certain way that like I have to record and then send a clip because otherwise it'll think I'm trying to go live or something. And I'm not. These chips are good. It's so weird not having background music. Well, I ran out of shit to talk about.
What do you want me to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Let's ask some questions and I can like tell a story.
Hmm.
You know, I grew up about 45 minutes from Chicago, Gary, Indiana.
And so, what do you know about the history of like South Side Chicago?
Mm, um, don't quote me on things. I mean, I my most of my family lives right now on the south side of Chicago.
Hmm.
Been there for the year. Great migration came up from Arkansas. Um, I mean, Chicago's all about black men. You know that?
What?
Chicago's all about black men. The DuSable Museum, explored, discovered,
What?
discovered Chicago. Named after a black man. DuSable DU, and capital SAPL. DuSable.
Did not
Kind of
know that.
specific, intimate neighborhood. I know like Bronzeville, on the historical side. Um, another area, Hyde Park.
I've
You
heard
know,
of that.
these affluent Hyde Park's the affluent black people. Like that's where the Elijah Muhammad lived. That's where the
Oh,
Obama lived. You know, like so.
okay.
There are some historical neighborhoods. And, I mean, it's like there's Philly's parallel to Chicago in a lot of ways. Like my ancestors.
From what I know, I don't have any ties to Chicago whatsoever. So
Mm,
like, I don't know much about it. I haven't really had a any kind of path that has led me to go down a rabbit hole of studying Chicago's history that much, other than um like the Haymarket incident and when like workers took to the streets to protest and there was like some big murder with the police firing into the crowd, and then they charged a bunch of people. Um, it started like a whole big movement. And that was in like the late 1800s. So other than that, no, I don't know much of Chicago history, especially pertaining to black folk. Um, but after going through there, I definitely want to learn more because uh, I don't know, it just seemed like a whole different world. It was weird. Like you said, there were some similarities. Like it kind of reminded me of some places reminded me of Philly. It's like an oversized Philly, but I don't know. Maybe I can. What? Okay. But yeah, Chicago and Minneapolis are two places I will get back out to soon, and
Mm-hmm.
then North Carolina, Elizabeth City, uh, is another place that I'll be going to soon. Other than that, I'll be staying local, but also covering things like in the news format, I guess. I don't know.